He just heard this term driving for dollars over and over and over again. Like people saying, yeah, go around and drive around, literally get in your car, drive around Indianapolis where he was based and look for properties that are in bad shape. He realized pretty quickly that process was brutal and said, you know what, I need to solve this for myself, right? I need to make something that can make this easier. He made this first version and it's evolved over time. We've got, virtual driving for dollars, AI driving for dollars. You can build a bird dog team. We've got a lot there when it comes to driving for dollars. And then from there, we've evolved into that full platform.
I see. What exactly does the AI do in this case?
I'll pull up word for word the default prompt. Let me give you 1 second here. So,
hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Jack Bosch Show, where we talk about all things real estate, finance, entrepreneurship, business, you name it, and all the things that are exciting in the business world. So my guest today is Matt Kamp. Matt is with DealMachine.com. And Matt, let's get right into it and let's talk about data. Let's talk about the market. Let's talk about properties, how to find them, skip trace them, how to get a hold of people, and how to get a hold of the best leads out there. So how are you doing today?
Doing great. I love the agenda there. And Jack, again, really appreciate you having me on. Always enjoy, being a resource for the community. So thanks again.
All right. So let's jump right in and talk about the logo behind your head there, DealMachine. What do you guys do? Let's get right into that.
Yeah, so DealMachine, you can really think of us as a real estate data and lead gen platform. We started off, we've been around for almost a decade now, which is pretty surreal to say. Pretty awesome, fun little, journey. It's been over 9 years now for DealMachine. And I would say, in general, we started off as a driving for dollars app, and a mobile app that would help you go out there and find, properties that were in bad shape and figure out, help you get in touch with the owner of them and say, hey, I'd love to buy that house, right? And over time, that's where we started as really, solve that problem. Our goal is to become best in class at that. Over time, we had people coming to us and saying, oh man, I wish you guys did this or had this data or it could do this or could do that. And we've really evolved from there into becoming a full real estate data platform. And that can help you with, looking at data and then also taking action on that through generating, leading to lead generation. So that's kind of the evolution in a high level nutshell there.
Very cool. So let's start with that driving for dollars. So how do you create an app for driving for dollars? Don't you have to drive in order to see the properties? And we're talking about 9 years ago, there wasn't really any kind of like AI level thing, system aggregation and so on available. Yeah. So how did you create an app for that? How should I think about that? I know it's a different world today, but I want to get that understanding of how that worked early on.
Especially then. Yeah, for sure. And so it's something that David Lecko, I can't remember if you've had David on your show. If you haven't, we need to make that happen too. But David Lecko, another CG member, he's somebody who, had a tech background, was a tech worker that was working what was supposed to be a 9 to 5 and really was like a 24/7 for him. He was just always on, really starting to get burnt out in that job.
By the way, that's what's called, like, was that in his job or as an entrepreneur?
It was an actual job at that point.
Oh, okay. But that's rare. That's an entrepreneur being in a job and realizing that he probably needs to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And so he was going through that journey of becoming, he had been an entrepreneur one time over and then had joined this company as part of an exit for that first time. And that's where he was finding himself in this tech job. And he's like, man, I need to change something here, right? This is not the setup that I want. He had always looked at real estate as a great long-term way to build wealth and, had read Rich Dad Poor Dad and, listened to Bigger Pockets and all all the stuff that you did back then. And, he had said, let me try to get into this myself. And so he would go to RIA meetings, he'd go to in-person stuff and networking events. And he just heard this term driving for dollars over and over and over again. Like people saying, yeah, go around and drive around, literally get in your car, drive around Indianapolis where he was based and look for properties that are in bad shape. And so, hey, the properties that are need fixing up are more likely than others to want to sell sooner than later. And so he would drive around, go look for that. he realized pretty quickly that process was brutal and said, you know what, I need to solve this for myself, right? I need to make something that can make this easier. And so he took his tech background, applied it to this problem solving, right? And made kind of version one on the iPhone of, okay, let me drive around and be able to tap and add properties on there. And then, basically his version one was to send mail to them and say, hey, I want to buy your house. And so he made this first version, built it all himself, went out there, recruited a kind of a co-founder to be able to help him do this. Dave Oster, who's the co-CEOs today at DealMachine here. They both went out and David basically solved his own problem with a mobile app and was starting to actually use it himself. And then had other people say, man, I want to use that too. Like this looks really cool. I have that problem too. Come, solve this for me. And the light bulb went off at that point, Jack, where he's like, man, I think I have a real business here, and split off, created version one of this mobile app that you could then add properties on the app, send mail, and that was it. It started there, and it's evolved over time. We've got virtual driving for dollars, AI driving for dollars. You can build a bird dog team. We've got a lot there when it comes to driving for dollars, and then from there we've evolved into that full platform.
I see.
So yeah.
So it was more like a tool that you could add the properties as you find them, or as you have a team that finds them.
Exactly.
The tool wouldn't find the properties for you. Now in today's world, not then, but in today's world, you probably can harvest and research Google Street View data and find properties that have the weeds yay tall and that are boarded up and have, or that at least look like they could fall into the category, and aggregate that with other data and so on and so forth to get to like a whole bunch of potential deals that you don't have to then drive by anymore. You can just directly contact.
Exactly. So within DealMachine today, we launched it probably, it was last November. So what, 7 months ago, we launched what we call our AI vision builder. And what it does is exactly that, Jack, where it uses AI to then look at the street view and satellite image, combine that with the property and owner demographic data. So it's looking at, over 700 data points there. And you can go in there and prompt the AI to then match whatever you're looking for. So you can say, hey, help me find, and we have a preset match for physically distressed properties like driving for dollars, right? It would be, hey, go find fixer-uppers that have, the overgrown grass, the, overstuffed mailboxes, XYZ. It fills in the blanks there for you, and uses AI to go do that. What used to take forever to drive around or VA to go click around, now in 30 seconds you can do a whole zip code, right? So we're really intentionally trying to evolve and embrace AI as a super productivity tool, and that's a really good example of it.
Yeah. That's key, because I remember 20 something years ago when I started in real estate, that driving for dollars is what we started with. That's why I had like a little bit of a curiosity interest there. Because again, read Rich Dad Poor Dad, read some other real estate books, read Bob Allen, Nothing Down, but read some Ron LeGrand thing. Got actually my very first course was a Ron LeGrand course, and he said about driving for dollars. So it's like, okay, so I got into my car and we drove around neighborhoods and found indeed boarded up houses, and houses that were with the weeds 6 foot tall, and we're like, whoa, there's actually something to this, and then went down. But at that point, I'm talking we're talking the year 2002. So 23 years ago. Now at that point, there was no data sources like that available. You had to literally go down to the county and go record by record, find the records for that address and write down the owner name, and then go send them a handwritten or whatever, send them a letter from your computer, because no data company or no mailing house would send out 7 letters, because that's the number of houses we found. So
that's basically that's basically David's initial experience. That's what got him the light bulb went off when he was like, man, he was going around, he'd be finding houses like that, spend forever doing that, then look up more info about the owner, try to figure out how to get in touch with them, and then after all of that would even go back and look at his list and realize he was writing down the same addresses over and over again. And so it's just like, man, I need something way more efficient and effective than this. And that's kind of where DealMachine was born, and have evolved to help, on the lead gen side. It's like give you ways to reach out to owners, give you contact information, all of that. So I'm happy to dig into whatever there, but that was kind of the genesis of it there for you. So
So how does the typical person now, your typical customer, use you, and what is kind of some of the features you're most proud of that you guys do provide for the typical investor? I assume most of the investors are house investors.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, definitely, if you look at the full majority, it would be single family home is number one. But we definitely have people using a variety of property types at this point and use cases for it. So I'd say, yeah, it's something that to answer your question on like what features are we most proud of? Love that question. I mean, I think a couple things like one, our goal has always been to like our mission has been to democratize real estate investing like this, help you go out there and just have access to tools and information that used to take forever, cost a ton of money, be really reserved for like the big companies, and have anybody go out there and do this themselves, give them the power of that using technology. And so I think we're really proud of the experience that we've built to go do that. From a data standpoint, coming in, we're different in terms of property data, yes, but especially like the demographic ownership data. And with that, especially is the contact information, because in the end, it's a people business, right? It's about how can you get in touch with people and have great conversations with them about whatever asset you're looking to invest in, right? So we have really focused on, okay, how do we make that higher quality and lower cost? And so we launched and this has been our number one reason that people have been coming to us the last year and a half is about 18, 19 months ago, we launched unlimited free skip tracing. And that is contact information, phone numbers, and emails of the owners of these properties, these assets. And so our goal, and that includes, we've recently added corporate owned as well. So, if you're wanting to look at corporate skip tracing, that data is infused in there now. With all of that there, we're not even doing what's a traditional skip trace, which would be like, tied to the property itself, and you're used to getting back 10 plus phone numbers, a million contacts, you don't know if any of them are right, like you have to re-skip it every few months, right? Like all of that we wanted to fix in the industry and said, okay, how do we tie the number to the person instead of the property? How do we contact match and have that person and property matched up to be able to have better quality skip trace data, contact match data here, contact information, and then do it at a cost that effectively like kills the skip trace of having to go out and pay 10 cents or more per property. And so we were really proud of pioneering that in the industry. Like we've seen other people try to move into that now, which is awesome. Like that's a great signal that we've changed the industry that way. So in terms of proud of building, it's access to data and information, and then it's how you leverage it. Like we have, we talk about AI there. We have a couple of features like, the AI built into our list building. That's really something that the AI vision that we're talking about there. That's something we're really proud of. We have AI built into our dialer. We've got a phone dialer that you can actually call with and do that. We've got AI built into the property data itself that can help you run analysis and things like that.
How does the first AI, what's just the first one that you mentioned?
Yeah, the vision builder. Yeah.
Yeah. So what does that do?
So that's the one that if you're going to do the AI driving for dollars approach, like that's what you'd be using. Is it's basically looking at property data, the Google Street image and the satellite image, and whatever you prompt it with, it will then listen to that prompt as AI does, right? Like if you've used any LLM, it's, hey, prompt it with instructions and then go execute on that. So, if you tell it, hey, go find properties that, that are distressed based on the images, it'll go do that. It'll look at all that data. Or, if you are saying, hey, go find properties that fit these certain, dimensions, or they're a corner lot, or they're, they have a bad roof, or they've got, they're solar ready. Like we've had even other industries start to approach us because of our contact information and the scale we're delivering that at, that have leveraged this in a larger way too, like, home services and roofing and solar and anybody who's looking to get in touch with property owners. So, I'd say like how we're leveraging those AI tools and then how we're providing contact information at a big scale is how we've continued to evolve and what we're most proud of, I think there. So
Very cool. And so the AI,
Mhm.
let's go into a little deeper. So what
Yeah.
exactly does the AI do in this case? So it's like you prompt it
Yeah.
to say what? Give me a use case example.
I'll pull up word for word the default prompt. Hold on, let me give me 1 second here. So inside DealMachine, basically when there's a map, right? Like you jump into DealMachine, there's a map to start with. You can put in a zip code, a city, a county, anything like that to be able to start off with and say, hey, look at all of the property types in this area. You can filter by seller motivation. Again, 700 plus property or 700 plus filters about the property itself and the owner to be able to build that list. Property type includes, I mean, you've got everything from homes to land to mobile parks to whatever you want to search by. We've got hundreds of options there. And when you have that list all laid out, then you've got say you have, hey, show me everything in this area that is a single family home in 63109 in South St. Louis. Great. Show me all the ones that have high equity and haven't sold in 7 years. Great. Okay, you've got 1,000. Now, out of those 1,000, have the AI, you could then go to the AI and say, hey, let me actually analyze these properties based on your prompt. And so this is where for prompting within the AI Vision Builder, the exact word for word for distressed property, if you click on that option for the AI, it'll say, hey, again, this is the prompt here. Identify properties showing visible signs of distress in the satellite and street view images. So it's giving like very specific directions there of what to look at and how to look at the data. Look for indicators like neglected landscaping, structural damage, broken roofs, boarded up windows, or general disrepair. So it's giving it instructions there, parameters of what to look for. And then it says properties don't need to show all listed examples, but should receive a high score if any of those signs are present. So it's telling you, what to look at, how to look at it, and how to score it, how to go through the process, right? You're like, you're prompting it to go do all those things because AI is only as good as the prompt you give it, right? And so you look at, it uses all of that and then looks at that data of all those 1,000 properties that I told it to analyze, looks at one by one the satellite and street view images as well as the property data to match the description you just gave it, the prompt you just gave it, and then comes back and says, you know what, here's 50 houses that fit that prompt. Great. Here's your AI built list to essentially go, that was AI driving for dollars, same end goal right there. So to get really, really specific in the weeds, that's what it looks like.
That's awesome. Yes, that because here's the thing: you said something. AI is only as good as the prompt you give it, and I think that's actually. I've been doing a lot of studying lately on, and not just lately, but probably for the last year, but particularly for the last 6 months, and even more since March, since I attended an AI and robotics and longevity and you name it, computation and thing like a futurist kind of company. Conference that where some of the smartest people I've ever met were come together, and where the leader of that group or of that event or the host was curating some of the most brilliant, cutting edge mind people in the world right now, from Silicon Valley and from all over the world for that, in and the AI revolution is coming way faster than most people know and think and even think possible. And the key is, you said it right, the key is to really get used to asking the right prompts. So I literally today talked to our team and gave everyone the mandate to use AI every day, at least really ideally in everything they do, and ideally all day long, and really become a master at the prompts. Because if you don't want to use AI to figure out how's the weather tomorrow, right? For that, you can use Google weather app and just like, or the iPhone weather app and just click on it and scroll to see tomorrow. Oh, it's sunshine. Great. That's like using a Ferrari to go drive up your driveway to pick up the mail.
Right.
That's not what you want to use a Ferrari for. Like everyone, we have a Ferrari at our hands, and we need to make sure that we use this in a way that we can actually get the power out of the Ferrari. And And the way to do that is you're not going on the racetrack on day one with your Ferrari, but you also shouldn't just use your Ferrari to drive it up your driveway to pick up the mail and drive it back into the garage every day. You need to get better and better and better and better at figuring out the features of the Ferrari. And the way you do that is by asking the better prompts. So the fact that you guys give those prompts already, but then of course that people can go more and more niche in that and then really find out the 10% that give him perhaps the 80% or the 20% of deals that give him the 80% results. That's really cool. And that's something we're working on in our software too. And we're soon going to be releasing, actually having a meeting right after this podcast with my technology head, where he's going to showcase me a new AI that we're about to roll out to our coaching students, where we do that, where you give detailed instructions and it'll give you everything about a property that you can ever need. And so it's
Awesome.
it's different use. This is more for the properties you have already in contact, or the ones that you want to make a specific offer on, but you already have in the target. Your guys is about, hey, I want to be in this zip code, and I want to get all the properties that have these characteristics. And the beauty of it is you now use English language for it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Natural language.
Or you had to go like drop down this, drop down that. But well, if I want to search for this, it's not available.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you use the English language. That is really the breakthrough on this. You don't have to know how to program. You don't have to know how to use software. You just basically tell it, I want this, and it'll give you. So, but the better you're at this, the better results you get. So, appeal to everyone watching this: use your AI. Choose one of the ones of the four big ones, and use, or 4 or 5, whichever one number they are there, and just really use it all day long, and use it to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. You'll be blown away by what you get.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I mean, the natural language thing is huge. Like, you used to have to be an expert at the software, right, to get to do what you want. Now it's going to be, hey, you talk to it like a human, and that's how you're going to be working with it. And I think it's evolved over time, like you said, of you've got the prompting. Then you saw like deep research come out, which is mind blowing, and you see it reasoning right in front of you. Next will be kind of agents and being able to take action for you. So it's evolving quickly, and it's okay. How do we really familiarize ourselves with it and embrace it as a super productivity tool, and do it in everything you're doing? Like, I mean, I have it set as my homepage for anytime I open a new tab. Things like these little habits you can build into your day, you're gonna get better and better at it, and make it a super productivity tool.
Yeah, for example, in our CRM, our investment dominator, land flipping business CRM software, and basically tool, end-to-end tool, great software. We're upgrading it to 2.0, which is completely looks different. The navigation is different, but most importantly, we have created, like in the past, it was a static software, and if somebody wanted to do something, they needed to go here and then click here and then click here and then click there. Mm-hmm. Then we created wizards. So now, like, we created like 10 wizards for the 10 most commonly used features. Right? So then somebody could go like on the wizard, and then they get walked step by step through the wizard. Now, in the new version, the wizards are all AI driven. Because now it's all like, hey, what do you want to do? Well, I want to send out mail. Great. Who you want to send it out? What letter you want to use? Okay, I want to use this one or is that one, and it's all interactively driven, which makes it so much more flexible for everyone to use, and it's so much more dynamic, and it's so much more adjustable too. Because somebody wants to go a slightly different route, great. Ask AI to take that route and combine it with this, and then we're so excited about launching this because it's going to be a game changer again for everyone out there.
Yeah, I love it. And that's where it's been, so it's how you leverage AI to interact with the software there, and then, or integrate it into the software. And then I think for us, it's also been, really making sure we have the best quality and most cost effective data out there as well. So it's the data that it takes action on. And especially for us, like I mentioned, our goal was to really change the industry when it comes to contact information and the skip tracing side. Like, I know, again, the industry standard was paying about 10 cents per property before we launched this. Now in DealMachine, like if you pulled a list of 10,000 properties or 10,000, people to reach out to, instead of spending $1,000 on that, it's just included on DealMachine starter, which is, a fraction of that, right? So it's, that's been our goal, is like help democratize data too. So.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. So then, so how else do people use your software? Like, and what are some other use cases that people can have with their software?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, again, start off as driving for dollars. You've got the virtual lead for D option, which is clicking for dollars in there. We have people use it if they're, trying to do that in a market they're not based in physically, or if they don't have a car to drive around, or maybe they have a virtual assistant that can help them. That was kind of, a good plan B to physical driving for dollars. You can add teammates on there, so like bird dogs, if you've heard that term, to be able to go out there and drive for you and find leads for you, right? And then AI driving for dollars. All that is kind of that driving for dollars bucket. We've built in list building now as well. Like I mentioned, 700 plus data points you can filter by, everything from mortgage data to information about the owner, equity, owner types, in terms of location, land, tax, foreclosure, rehab costs, liens, all kinds of stuff there to be able to dig into in terms of data itself. And so phase one is still going in there and building lists, whether it be through D4D or list building in that way. And then when you have all of those properties that you want to be able to actually take that next step and turn into deals, that next piece is, okay, how do we help with lead generation, give you tools for that. And so that's where the phone numbers and emails come in. That's where we've seen, if you have this property data mixed with the demographic data and the contact information, that intersection is like truly an unfair advantage in your market. You've got everything you need when it comes to due diligence on that person, on that property, and then on getting in touch with them as well. And then, to actually get in touch, that's where we've built out things like that AI powered dialer, like that I mentioned, where you can click to call people there, send mail. We have a route planning mode as well that you can actually get GPS turn by turn navigation to go like put flyers up or door knock or anything like that. If that applies to that asset type, right? Maybe not as applicable for land, but you've got all of that right there. And then, we've got a few other little things like the AI assistant, the comping tool, things like that. But really, it's data / list building and lead gen would be the main two buckets there. And we're always doubling down on how to continue to improve that and make that more and more effective. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And so great. So how does somebody get a hold of you? If somebody wants to say, like, you know what, this sounds really good. That sounds like a great supplement with perhaps because you do offer land data, right? It sounds like yeah. So like, sounds like a great supplement for the land. I could perhaps get the data there, put in the investment dominator. Obviously, if you have the investment dominator, you're already connected with the data that we have from great resources and so on. But if you want to do some additional things over there, or if you don't use our software, go check it out, investmentdominator.com. But if you don't use it and you don't have a need for it because you're already using your CRM, then definitely check out DealMachine. But where do people find you? Where can they go and get more information?
Yeah, so I'll share a variety of resources here. So we obviously have just DealMachine.com. That you've got. We have 7-day free trials if you just want to try out the tool and see if it's helpful for you, see if it fits what you're looking for. Like, I would highly recommend doing that and then testing out, especially our contact data. Very, very confident and proud of what we put out there. So I would say go try out that resource, just the tool itself. We do have office hours as well. It's DealMachine.com/office-hours. So office-hours there. That is just a live Q&A that people join and ask DealMachine questions and see a live demo on those. So that would be one that you can quickly just have more interactive Q&A and learn if it's a good fit quickly. And then especially if you're looking at like large scale data. So coming in and saying, hey, yeah, I want to have a power dialer. I want to be able to send a lot of email. I want to do something at a large scale. Just email me direct, matt@dealmachine.com. Happy to help. Happy to see if we're a good fit as a tool. And then again, if it's high volume, we've built out some like custom plans for people before, offer that too. So you've got a variety of resources there, and in the end, it's something that just you don't fully know until you try it out. So I'd say like just highly recommend the free. It's 7 days free to go see if it's a good fit. Just check it out on the website there, and appreciate you having me on, Jack.
All right, very cool. So guys, in the world of data, there's many different ways to go. In the world of data, what the key factor is, and you said that really well, is we can talk for a little bit more. That wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily the end of our podcast here.
Hey, I'll follow
I just
you.
want to make sure that people don't have to wait till the end to get the
Yes.
information about where to get this from. Many podcasts have that at the end, but it's just like whenever it fits, it's like let's share that.
Let's do it.
But one of the things is the key to data is not just, it used to be that when nobody was in the real estate space, you just contacted some owners and you got a bunch of them to respond.
Mm-hmm.
But we're now, particularly in the house world, we're living, and in the land world, competition has gone up too, but it's far from the house world competition. But in the house world, you can't just send out, you go broke if you just send out contact people, whatever, whichever way you do it, texting, cold calling, or direct mail. And you don't have a pre-filtering of the highest possible quality leads out there. And the land is just, you can still do it the old way, but the better way is still, you want to, if you have the data, why not hone in on the highest possible candidates and the highest possible, highest quality leads? And highest quality means most likely to want to sell you their property at a discount, right? Mm-hmm. So which is the people that are distressed, which is the people who have passed away, which is the people, meaning the heirs. You can't buy it from the people who passed away, but from the heirs, which is the heirs, which is the people who are in jail for that matter, who is the people, there's like, you mentioned something in the before we went live that you guys check your data against 700 data points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, 700 filters. So, yep, 700 filters there. Yep.
700 filters. What are some of these filters that you guys are checking against that have you like really be excited?
Yeah, and I think you nailed it there too. Of what lists are going to actually perform are the ones that you're going out and are more niche, more unique, more focused, right? And really ones that ideally other people don't have. And that's what Driving for Dollars is made. That's why that's been around forever. That's why it's such a great resource, especially on the home side, is that you went out and earned that list, right? You went out and put in the sweat equity to go find properties that may or may not show up with other data points, and which means, hey, they're lower competition, less people reaching out, more chance to find those kind of hidden deals that not everyone's already going after. And so if you're able to really build those niche, unique lists, that's what we want to help you do. Those are the ones that are going to be most effective and perform best. So Driving for Dollars is one example of that. Using the AI to analyze all those data points and help you build a list that no one else has, that's another example of that. The general framework that we see working really well is basically going in there, choosing a location, right? Like an area. So whether it's zip code, city, or county. So start with a location, start with an asset type. So single family or vacant land or whatever the property type is, right? And then go, off market. So, start with that kind of general filtering to begin with. And then think about the next level up would be, okay, think about the asset itself. What would be my buy box? Like, for example, if you're a really specific, single family home investor, maybe it's a 3-2 that fits a certain price range that, is a certain size, certain square footage, certain lot size, like all the buy box characteristics there. So put that in next, right? So you've got that baseline of data, then the data about the property, the asset itself. And then finally, on top of that, put a seller motivation. So, we've got a quick filter that's got like 30 plus seller motivations in there. I can pull that up here real quick of some examples for you. I know there's things like tax delinquency, foreclosure statuses, probate, senior owner, tired landlord. Some of these are really objective, like senior owner. Some of them are a little more home baked, like tired landlord, right? There's one that's likely to move. It's a little predictive on ones that we think are likely to move in the next 90 days, right? With a variety of different data points there. But all of those, really, if you follow that framework of, okay, that baseline location, asset type, off market data, and then layer on about the asset itself, and then layer on seller motivations, that process is what I would say is like the most effective list building process that we've seen. Love it.
And I love it from multiple reasons. And I'm really glad you laid that out in that detail because, again, this show is supposed to is designed to be both educational and obviously entertaining and so on, and adding a lot of value. And I would want to dare to say that there's nobody out there that is able to aggregate data personally, privately, to the level that professional services like yours or like ours can do. And so like you don't just go out there and go to the county and get a, like back 20 years ago when we would teach this, we was like there was no data services, or if there was, they didn't have land data.
Right.
So what we had to do 20 years ago is we literally had to go down to the county, get a signed piece of paper from every county official, then bring that to the IT guy from the county. And after the IT guy had the permission from the assessor and the tax collector and from the recorder to give us all the data, he would burn the data that we wanted, the land data, on a CD, and we would then take that home, and then we would extract it. We would send it to a guy who would then process it and put it into an Excel spreadsheet, and then we would use that and mail merge it and have to print it out because no mailing house would accept less than 10,000 records. So that's how we had to do this step by step by step. But there was only, all we had was land data from the county. There was no motivational factor. We had to imply motivational factor. Like if the last ownership record ownership change was a year ago, well, it's either a brand new purchase or it's an inheritance. Right? So you sometimes could see that if the deed was a warranty deed, it's a brand new purchase. You probably kicked it out. If the deed was a judgment deed or something like a judgment from a court, then it was probably a probate. So then you keep it in. But we had to face it. That's about the level of sophistication that we were able to apply to that. Because, and then you could see if the ownership was 20 plus years, well, that's a great candidate because they've had it for 20 years. They obviously haven't done anything with it, so they might not use it. So that's it. That's about the level that we could go with. Today, this is like, forget about it. This is like what you just talked about is like 10 layers above that, and you just scratch the surface, what you guys do there, and what really any good data service does. And particularly you guys, you obviously are changing the industry here and making that and putting that at the fingertips of people. So this is what. So in today's world, like even back then, if we had data to that, oh my God, we could have cut our mailing costs in half and or by 80% and still gotten every single deal out there. Well, today it's the same is true, only that today, particularly in the house world, it's a necessity to do this.
That's what I was just pulling this up too. I mean, like the example you just gave me, I mean, you guys did the hard way, man. You did the old fashioned way to go jump through 15 hoops to get to even a list of contact. Now, I mean, you literally pull up St. Louis City, single family, intra-family transfer, like you just talked about. There's 14 leads right there that I just pulled up in DealMachine that are intra-family transfer. They transferred inside the family, that property after someone passed away. Like that took me 5 seconds of what used to take 5 hours or whatever, however long it took you, right? So, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So great. So I love it. So again, go want to share the resources one more time that people can get a hold of you?
Yeah. So a couple things. We got our website. Go check out the tool if you want to actually just try it out for a 7-day free trial. It's the best way to really get a feel for it is just, use the thing and see how if we're helpful there. That's just DealMachine.com, and you've got the free trial button in there. We also have the office hours, like I mentioned earlier. It's DealMachine.com/office-hours. Click on that link. You've got a bunch of options there to just jump on and learn from our head of customer success on how to use the tool. And then if you're on that level of, hey, I need this at scale. I have a big team. I need a lot of data to export, a lot of phone numbers and emails, what have you. I work on custom plans around that. So just email me direct, Matt@DealMachine, MATT @DealMachine.com, and I'll, happy to chat. So
awesome. Wonderful. And with that said, that is the end of our show today. So I love that we went to the data a little bit more at the end and really the detail of it, because this is a key kind of thing that you all need to remember when you're watching this, or anyone listening to this, anyone watching this, is like we're living in a different world today. And although I still, to this day, I believe that for every 100 house flippers, there's only one land flipper. It still would be stupid not to hone in on your data as much as possible in order to get the lowest hanging fruit, right? Why waste data on people? Why waste mailings and postage on cold calling and phone calls and time and effort on people that have a very low likelihood of accepting an offer and wanting to sell. If you can, with tools like DealMachine offers and like we offer, you can actually get much closer to that. So our software is integrated with services like that increase your likelihood. You guys have the data. So if you don't use the investment dominator, if you want to add something, then put it into us. Consider them. Check it out. With that said, guys, thank you very much. Thank you, Matt, for being with us. Was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and with that said, that is a wrap. As always, give us that 5-star review, share it with your friends, and actually go on there. If you're watching this on iTunes, go give us a little review, put in the 5 stars. And if you're watching it on Spotify or anyone else too, if you can do a review there too, give it a 5-star, and I'll see you in the next show. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.